Well, welcome everyone to our second Platform and Treasury Council recurring meeting. Today's agenda is going to cover a few important items, including just an overview broadly of the Platform Council and Treasury Council and their roles and decision-making processes, a bit of information related to most recent Telcoin network updates, status, the progress with the TEL-IP proposal in terms of exchange listing, the information sharing that we've done from commercial to the Platform at Treasury and Compliance Councils, and talk a little bit about some legal developments yesterday. And I'll kind of start off with a recap too. So these recurring meetings serve several critical functions for the successful communal governance of the Telcoin platform. They provide transparency to the community, from councils to the community, and they create a structured forum for us to discuss our proposals that we put forward to try to improve the platform. And the two buckets that those types of proposals can fall into broadly are planning and financing, let's say infrastructure or other shared endeavors, and then regulating TEL issuance throughout the platform for miners to harvest according to rules that the council set. This enables the authors of potential proposals on the forum, who can be anyone, to present to the council and the community and to discuss, debate, and refine the proposal to a form where it could be formally proposed by a council member and then voted on with a high probability of consensus. These enable regular platform updates, ensure consistent communication amongst council members, and allow direct community engagement through Q&As that we host near the end of the call. And the two councils that are here today on this recurring meet, which these happen every 2 weeks, I think that we might have a cadence here where we can perhaps schedule every 2 weeks from this date and time, but we'll get to that at the end when we schedule the next calls. And so this recurring meet is between the Platform and Treasury Councils. These are the global governing organizations of the Telcoin Association. They're this sort of global layer that views and analyzes and provides improvements and allocates the primary source of TEL issuance throughout the entire platform as one indivisible system. So together, we oversee platform-wide systems, including after Telcoin Network is live with 10 validators, Telcoin Network, social policies, and things like exchange listings. We manage the TEL Treasury, which is where all of the issuance that goes throughout the platform to liquidity miners on TELX, to Telcoin Network validators, and to Telcoin application network stakers and developers. We regulate that annual amount. And so the Platform Council has 8 members, and we use 2 processes: the TIP process, which is basically social policies that don't involve Telcoin Network, TEL Treasury, or governance infrastructure. We need 6 out of 8 votes to pass our proposals, and we also initiate the TEL-IP process, which includes the Treasury Council as the second voting group, and is for platform-wide policies that involve the TEL Treasury, the Telcoin Network after it's live with 10 validators, governance infrastructure, and really just anything that needs to be financed at a high level from the place where there's the most TEL. So big shared endeavors, those will go through the TEL-IP process. And so first the Platform Council votes, 6 out of 8, and then the Treasury Council, the Platform Council can then propose that to the Treasury Council, who has 4 members and needs to unanimously consent through the proposal. And that's to ensure that that all interests are protected while still making decision-making costs lower. So having only 4 members versus every single person in the world voting on everything, 4 balanced elected members that ensures that each minor group has the right to protect their interests in terms of the TEL treasury and its flows throughout the platform. And but does this, via having less members. So, achieving unanimous consent is a design objective of the governance system generally, so that all four minor groups across this comprehensive value chain that's organized under a legal structure are included. Just to continue on, this was supposed to be an overview, and now it's turning into a novel. Our key responsibilities are to review and vote on any snapshot proposals. These are, you must vote if you are a Platform or Treasury Council member on a proposal. It's on a snapshot. If you disagree with the proposal, you need to provide a rationale, but that is a requirement. And if you miss 3 consecutive votes, then it's likely that your NFT will be revoked by the Compliance Council. Similarly, we're required to attend these biweekly meetings every 2 weeks so that we can communicate and share information and all align on prospective proposals. If you don't attend one of the meetings, you need to provide your opinion on any proposals that are live on the forum, as well as notes and advance notice for your inability to make it. It's a global organization, so we need to be flexible with people because we're all can be on crazy different time zones, and so organizing that just sometimes it doesn't work out, and we want to continue the discussion, and be reasonable in our communication rules surrounding when people can come and if they can make it or not. But that the voting part, really is critical. And so the Platform Treasury Council and the councils generally need to provide community updates about proposals, which we do here, enforce any rules that it invokes and oversees, and generally monitor the performance of the platform. We use Discord to communicate daily, the forum for more informal proposal discussions, and these recurring council meetings really connect the forum, the Discord, and the councils to finalize, deliberate, and refine proposals for Snapshot, which we use to vote. Now I'm just going to get into the last meeting recap. So in our last meeting, we did a broad overview similar to this, but a little bit longer about the Platform and Treasury Councils and what we govern and how. We went through the first TEL IP proposal that was proposed by Coops, which was for exchange listing. So there were a number of different exchanges that the community has expressed interest in having us apply to. We shared that we actually have already applied to them and have discussed alternatives. We actually identified one of the Platform Council members, Squirtel, as having there's some expertise in partnering with different agencies and discussed whether or not engaging with an agency due to our the outcomes we've had, which is actually applying to these exchanges and then not applying to these exchanges without success. Perhaps using a specialized agency to outsource this task makes a lot of sense. So there's some community debate on that and discussions about how we might do that. And then there were also some on the other side of the proposal, there was some discussion surrounding whether or not we should even be allocating to centralized exchanges, the nature of the relationship between on-chain and off-chain exchanges and how, there are reasons for it, such as the ability to on-ramp new users. We heard indications from the community that there was some there that they've actually, had originated on some centralized exchanges and then become, full-on community members. So it can serve as an on-ramp, and also discussed, which, this is really more of the Telex Council's area, but discussed how there's a prospective go-to-market strategy for exchanges wherein we incentivize potential markets or different markets on their exchange layer 2s that they use and on Ethereum to get liquidity sufficiently within their ecosystems and sort of come at it from that on-chain angle. If you think about incentivizing a market on Base and then that there's liquidity for everyone in Coinbase wallet, perhaps that in a lot of exchange activity on their network, perhaps, that would result in listing or something. So, I just wanted to give you guys a recap there. And then the we put together a little article yesterday in response to what was a major legal update. We posted it on Twitter. If you don't follow at Telcoin Tau, please do. We'll continue to share this type of information and updates with the community. But yesterday, we posted this article, and basically, there's one of the largest DAOs in the world, is Lido DAO, and there was effectively this ruling wherein we now, across all of the crypto lawyers, even your sort of staunchest crypto, regimeless legal structure, so having no legal structure for a crypto entity being, what some of the lawyers have advocated for a long time, or let's say most of them, due to the decentralization of blockchain networks. Even they are saying, hey, look, these networks need to have a legal entity, and that really both highlights the risks that unstructured DAOs have, because they basically ruled that you can have unlimited liability, treated as a general partnership if you even participate in a DAO at all, and that's a really big deal. And we, recognizing that, regardless of if you're governing a fishing pond, or your local tennis club, or a global blockchain network, everywhere and always, governance is a social construct between people, and so we have centuries and centuries of case law surrounding why these different organizations of people making decisions about goods and services should have a legal entity, and that's something that was actually very sort of against the grain, primarily because there haven't been many specific entities for incorporating DAOs, but in our case, we recognize that the Swiss Baron model, which is what the Telcoin Association is wrapped under, is really sort of ideal for this. Because it is used by tons of international, let's say, lawyers, legal firms that want to ring fence liability across jurisdictions. And so it has a global decentralized governance element for, some of the, largest law firms in the world, right? And then also it is used in terms of governing similar goods and services. So, the Telcoin platform can be understood in terms of goods and services as a common pool resource, where it's difficult to exclude users from accessing the benefits of the system. And then it's also, if you extract one Tel unit from the system, let's say as a liquidity miner, that subtracts from the total available units that others can harvest. So it's what's called a common pool resource. And it's other common pool resources like forestry associations, where there's a bunch of different people who own huge plots of land, and then they come together to create a governance org around their shared resources to allocate them. 25% of forestry actually uses Swiss barons as their legal structure in Switzerland. So 25% of all forestry in Switzerland is owned by the same Baron association model we use. So, on an objective basis, the Baron model made a ton of sense to us as the right way to move forward. And so ultimately that's positioned us with, as a community, governing a blockchain system versus everyone who's kind of sort of disorganized, unstructured, that we have legal recognition and limited liability protection for members, an established framework for governing our type of goods and services regime, global accessibility and regulatory compliance, and a real first mover advantage with a real tangibility to that first mover advantage in regulated blockchain governance. So as a community, we should applaud ourselves in going towards this direction unanimously, because now everybody's scrambling towards that. And we've always believed that applying the frameworks from the physical world to the digital was the right path, instead of treating these things as completely novel in the world of ownership and goods and services. So yeah, really excited about just the fact that we are associated, incorporated, and operational, and looking forward to continuing to develop with the community within this legal structure our shared platform system and token. Now I want to hand things over to Grant. Remember to follow at Telcoin Tau. Check out the most recent article. And Grant, who is the director of blockchain engineering, is going to give a little update. So Grant, I'll give you the mic. And thank you everyone for listening.
Awesome. Thanks, Parker. And bravo on your leadership and just vision for the social governance thing too. I think that it's incredible accomplishment to kind of be ahead of the curve on that. So quick Telcoin Network update for everybody. We've begun the process of open sourcing Telcoin Network codebase. Some of our integration tests rely on private infrastructure that's not really suitable to share with just a public repo. So there's a little bit of kind of refactoring there. It's a lower priority for us. We're still missing some features, and so it's kind of like a work as we go sort of process. But we definitely aim to have that the code base open sourced sooner than later. As far as milestones go, we do have the specifications for bridging and for validator rotations flushed out, and so they are complete. We've written out formally the proposal for validator shuffling. I haven't written out the full bridging proposal yet. But through internal communication and on the forum, Marcus has done a great job of documenting that sort of process and the strategy and the vision there. So, that there really is a formality missing with having that TNIP3 written and formally submitted to the TNIPs. That's something that we need to do. But again, we've been prioritizing just coding in the first place. So it's kind of it's in the process and needs to happen soon. So we'll be on that. But more specifically, though, to those milestones and for in terms of implementing them and coding them, we have a state sync solution that's coming along really nicely. We've assessed different ways that we can reduce trust when clients are downloading the entire state tree to catch up and sync with the network. We're basically in this initial run, and the fastest way to get to mainnet, we prioritize security over efficiency in syncing for the short term. So we have RPC endpoints for joining the network. We have a peer system in place. Basically, the handshake is implemented, and so as far as validator shuffling, that's kind of the progress on that. The other missing feature that we're working on is the bridging. We have some back and forth with Axelar's dev team to integrate with our test nets for bridging, and there's kind of been a little bit of back and forth there, but I think as of this morning, we're kind of all on the same page, and that should be complete very soon, and that'll be moving forward with being able to bridge on test nets, which would just be the what we plan to do on mainnet. And we have a lot of progress on like relayers and the other infrastructure needed to support those bridging transactions. So great progress there overall. I also wanted to share that tonight we have a strategic business development meeting with a handful of industry experts later today that's going to be focused on specific feedback for onboarding MNOs and what they're looking for and the pain points that they're having. We have some interest in the community, so I'll address that we're in the contract review stage with a select few mobile network operators. None of them have formally signed yet, but we're hoping to provide positive news very soon in that regard. We'll see. But ultimately, a little bit of insight there that, the security audit is going to be paramount for the chain. No mobile network operator, nor does this association or any of these council members or the TAO have any interest in taking a reputational hit by rushing to a product out the door. Security is going to be the most important thing moving forward and towards mainnet. So we want some of these network participants to go through the entire process on testnet before securing this audit, and so that we can address any of these, any feedback for the operators before we launch mainnet. The biggest reason for that is if there are any pain points or there are any bottlenecks or there's any sort of translations that need to happen for like bigger data centers, then we want to address that before we get a security audit. That way, the changes that we make can be covered under that umbrella, and we don't have to waste the money on another security audit to audit, other changes of code. So right off the gate, another consideration too is just like if there, for some reason, there was a significant change needed, or once the MNOs are running this, then we'd be starting off with like a hard fork right off the gate. So we're confident we can handle a fork early on, but it's just less than ideal. And so we're kind of playing at the MNO speed, and listening to their concerns, addressing those, answering any questions, addressing their sort of like regulatory questions, etc. So moving forward, though, the MNO participation is going to be announced by them, through them. Their own participation will be publicly, like everyone will find out at the same time. It'll be and that process is really when they submit their authorization proposal through the forum channel for becoming either a new validator or a new developer. And then the councils would then submit their candidacy to the Compliance Council snapshot, and the Compliance Council would either approve or deny that GSMA member to the validator or developer position within the association. So basically, once Telcoin Network achieves this sort of scalability hurdle that we're dealing with, which is more than a hand, like what currently, like the protocol team feels really good about when the network starts, that number of nodes, that's the network. We can run that. That's testnet. That's going well. But if we ever want to rotate validators, or we want to expand the network and have this sort of like, this ability to expand beyond just the initial founding committee, that's what we're working on right now. So it's kind of it's an important step, and it's the last missing piece to our puzzle here. But like I said, there's a lot of steps in this sort of implementation where we design the protocol, putting it all into English, going through the logical steps. How is this going to work? What are the security considerations here? What are the minimum optimizations that we need to be efficient and effective? And then there's the process of actually taking that and codifying it and turning those English and making that logic into code. And that's the step that we're on right now. But all in all, I think that we're making steady progress in that sense. And hopefully very soon we'll be able, I think in the next, my goal is, as soon as we can figure out this integration test and sort of like refactor some of these tests to not rely on private infrastructure, I would really like to open source the Telcoin network code base, so that everybody can follow along. We need help from the community, any sort of developers out there, any sort of tooling, any sort of interest projects, etc. So I think that's where we're at with Telcoin network updates. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to dive in deeper in the details, but otherwise I'll yield my time.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions for Grant? Just raise your hand if so. All right. Well, thank you, Grant. It was wonderful. It's really exciting to see this network come alive, and you guys, build out a real institutional grade system with secure bridging this fast. And we've had a ton of inbound interest related to developing on the network, and also have been working very closely with the commercial team from the TAO on discussing and presenting the value proposition for being a validator and Telcoin network, and in the application developer use case publicly. Those will be announced on the forum when MNOs decide to join each position. So it's not exactly our place to come in and say that someone will be joining at this time. There's a formal process for that, which you can review on the docs and eligibility and authorization rules for developers and validators, stakers, and liquidity miners as well. Yeah, wonderful job. And the next topic here is to discuss the TEL-IP exchange listing and the various new information that we've shared across the council. I'd like to invite first Leo to present this exchange master doc, to set a high level summary of what it is and how it can be used, as well as any of the terms in there that you think deserve a special note. And then we can open the discussion up a little further to perhaps Squirtel, if you want to talk about your thoughts after Leo jumps into this, and on how we can approach these exchanges. But yeah, Leo, I'll hand it over to you for now.
Thank you, Parker. Yeah, quick one from me. It's a pretty simple document. It's called master document, but don't panic. It is just a working document related to the exchange listings, TEL IP. Um, Basically, commercial have given us a lot of information about their experiences, basically applying for listings. So they've laid out a full, like, detailed listing process. So that's going through everything from preparing and identifying the contact point, which is probably a kind of listing manager or senior executive, to the actual application, what kind of exchange channels you'll be using, how to actually submit the application, and due diligence, and then even negotiation and technical integration, and then ending up with marketing and liquidity preparation. So Rajesh has been really helpful there, and that is proper on the ground stuff. There's also a kind of section on exchanges and statuses. So this lists all of the exchanges that have already been applied to. We've got OKX there and Crypto.com, applied earlier this year. And then some of the ones that we were actually listed on, so CoinDCX, BitGet, LBank, and then a few suggestions for which to go for next. I think it was OKX and Crypto.com. We want to be trying to push those through, maybe even coming at it from a different angle, but that's for you guys to decide, I guess. There's some information on the Make It partnership. So Make It are the German market makers that have been providing liquidity on BitGet, Bybit, LBank, and BingX, and Bitrue as well. So there's some information on them and information on how the tokens work, how they're given to them basically in like a option type form. And then a little section on alternative options. So maybe that could prompt a bit of discussion about whether you think the listing fees, for example, could be put to better use elsewhere, or other potential strategies to reach the same outcomes. And then a little section on agencies, just kind of to discuss what might be a good step going forward in terms of maybe using an agency for this. And at that point, I guess Squirtle's probably the best person to ask, in terms of how you think we can work with an external agency for any listings.
Okay, so just to start off, from coming back from the holiday, I've already been in contact with Crypto.com and Coinbase. So I've dropped them messages. This is both, so with Coinbase, that's both through the agency and direct with them. So I'm literally, this was probably about 2 days ago, purely because I was away. I was on holiday, in all honesty. And yeah, don't want to annoy my partner on her birthday or anniversary. I'm not brave enough to do that. So I've already been in contact with them. I think the one thing that they have asked is, and it relates to what I believe it's Crypto Stevo's proposal was about the different email addresses, because one of the things they have asked is, can it be sent across, or any information via a direct email, because they get countless different people contacting with random email addresses, or just via Telegram or anything like that, and they just need kind of that sense of the compliance structure, just so they know it is through or put in contact through. So whether I send that to Parker, or whether the council members go through and we do pass a proposal to get email addresses for that to then help. There's a variety of different ways.
Yeah, So we could do that with the compliance. Sorry to interrupt, but we could do that with either the compliance at telcoin.org one, or we could create a new exchange at telcoin.org email address and have that route through to, I guess, the same folks, and provide regular updates from there. Yeah, we can do that. I'll let you continue this.
Okay, no,
I feel
perfect.
like the compliance emails, in my opinion, definitely the way to go.
Okay, that sounds good.
But yeah, either way, I know the proposal's already out there. So 100%, let's work on that, get whatever it is, pass, everyone votes. But it's more to do essentially just to kind of prep everyone, the initial process or the whole process for exchanges and everything, it isn't a quick click and done process. Even it is still a slower process because especially now we're hitting like crypto markets going crazy or starting to go up. Companies are being bombarded now with everyone wanting to list everything like this. So the fact that we do have contacts is definitely a bonus. So this should help in that aspect. But the general applying to exchanges and getting the whole process is still a slower process on a whole. So I just want to clarify that just for anyone listening. It won't be a click and done straight away, but there will definitely be progress.
Do you think that, so you've been working sort of like solo through this agency that works with exchanges, or you've been working as part of the agency with exchanges?
So with this, we work basically in the company that I work for. We are literally in contact with a variety of different agencies themselves that we go through, or we work directly with exchanges. So like I said previously, my role is essentially to negotiate with different exchanges, and I do this daily. So we do have direct contacts. I just need to kind of go through and essentially, I know we've got the document as well, so I just need to run through as well. But there was a couple of additional exchanges because there were some we couldn't or weren't hesitant to go on, but I think with certain compliance and regulations, we were like, oh, okay, these are the ones that are of focus. But like for example, I think someone mentioned Bybit earlier. I've got direct links to them if that helps. I've got so it really depends on who or what exchanges we are looking to go for. I can hit the ground running and spread across to as many as possible and just get in contact with the people I know and then pass everything across. Or we can just hone in on a focus. It's entirely up to essentially the council.
Very cool. Okay, so is there some sort of agreement that we should enter into with your firm and the Tau, make a proposal for that, so to sort of, it sounds like, y'all be, in a way, if we don't do that, working for free, which is great and all, but not sustainable. And, does it make sense to sort of try and enter into a partnership like this that's formalized longer term, with, predetermined payment rates so that we can really leverage this to our benefit? And so I guess that's the first question.
So in terms of kind of getting this partnership, that's absolutely fine. I can do instructions to get something sorted there. What I would say is, because I already have the contacts, I'm happy to definitely approach and then go through it all. But then if we need to kind of expedite or kind of speed it up, then one person, manpower, can only go so far. So it depends really if we want to go across all or just hone in, because I literally, crypto doesn't sleep, to be honest. I'm always by a laptop and I've always got either my work my work one, or I've built relationships and contacts. So I'm happy to utilize.
So this is wonderful. Yeah, I think I think it probably going for the targeted list maybe makes a lot of sense, but I could see the other side of wanting to sort of spread out the net. And as far as information goes, I can set it definitely, provide whatever's needed there. But I do think, even after speaking with Rajesh, despite the fact that we have applied to Crypto.com, OKX, and Kraken this year, which are the three exchanges that Coops proposed, them and obviously Coinbase. I think everyone would be in unanimous consent there that wants an exchange listing. I mean, I think if we just targeted those four, getting any one of those, I feel like would be a pretty big win for the community.
Yeah, I agree. I think those four are good. If you're going to pick four, those are definitely ones to go for. As you said, even if it's just one, then that's definitely, any more than one's brilliant, but even one would be great, I think.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Great. So yeah, I mean, now that you have that full set of info with all of the exchanges on there and everything, and we have a bit of a focus here, do we need to just I presume at some point when we go to actually list past this early intro phase that you're putting together, there will be some we'll need to do some financing of it, and therefore you need to push through a proposal. So do we just continue on the path that you're on right now with this new information and then resync back up on this in the next meet? To see what, and then maybe at that point we figure out, all right, here's what we're going to do. And we just kind of create a final proposal for it and see if it makes it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to kind of go away, get bits sorted, utilize a load of the new the information that Coops and everyone and Rajesh has pulled together, and yeah, let's see what we can do, and I can bring it to the next meet.
Great, this is wonderful. Yeah, I mean, overall, it's like we've tried really hard to get listed over the years, many times in many places, and there's just a way that I think is probably more efficient and effective at getting that done, and I'm excited to approach that with you, because it's a crazy construct, market structure. How there's tokens and there's exchanges that you apply to list them, and it's sometimes they require payments. I mean, that's a very crypto native thing if you think about it. Yes, let's say it's a lot different than your traditional like a stock exchange or something.
Yeah, crypto, everyone's got their hand out waiting for kind of something back, or it is crazy.
Yeah, and that type of behavior is a little bit concerning to me, and I mean, we touched on it last time. How much is an exchange listing really worth?
Yeah.
Well, that's a discussion that I think we'll continue to have over time. But okay, well, this sounds good. I think unless anyone from the community wants to come up and share their opinions on the current TEL-IP exchange proposal, please put your hand up. Otherwise, I feel like we're in a good spot to reconvene on this subject next week or next meeting. So I'll give it 30 seconds. What exchanges are we targeting? Well, preliminary right now, we're thinking the ones that were proposed by Coops, which includes Kraken, Crypto.com, and OKX, and then Coinbase because, it's Coinbase. So, okay, well, it looks like we don't have anyone that wants to come up and join, so I will continue. So yeah, a couple proposals that are currently in development, and one of them was actually asked about earlier this week by a community member, and that is related to the services agreements between the Telcoin Association and the TAO. That is developed, written out, and will need to then be proposed as a TIP proposal. Because it's a social policy, it's not going to involve any, money transfer between parties or payments. I mean, and so it's we're going to basically we've got that all drafted up, checked on it this week, and just need to submit a TIP proposal. So once that goes out, we can submit a formal one and approve it. Talk about the service agreement in the next meeting too, in advance of that, and perhaps we'll have two concurrent proposals to run through. I think, and then there will also be a sort of, the creating Telcoin network is, and what will like the function of governance generally is to finance, planning it is to plan and finance the construction of Telcoin network and other systems, as well as their maintenance. And so, the development of that is obviously costly. And so we plan to, really put forward a proposal that showcases where things are going, where they've come from, and what the next milestones are that we're looking towards completing, and we'll request for financing formally using the proper TEL-IP proposal mechanism, just like everyone else. But yeah, I mean that's just the most major thing that we have as an association in front of us is getting Telcoin Network live, our base layer global blockchain. This network, there's the existing networks that are blockchain networks globally are sort of fragmented. They're led primarily by unincorporated governance entities that are either some mix of a company and a community or just totally unincorporated. They're disconnected from banking broadly because the existing regimes in the largest financial systems in the world have effectively shadow banned banking. And the sort of lack of global institutional alignment around a shared network has created all of these just siloed, fragmented blockchains that are there's just tons and tons of them, but not tons of users on chain. There's 95% of exchange volume is on centralized exchanges trading tokens that are meant to literally be used on blockchain networks. So while on-chain activity is going up, the number of users, because there isn't this sort of global aligned connected blockchain for finance, are disaggregated across just tons of networks. And ultimately, we think that the go-to-market strategy of going through mobile network operators, connecting all of them through a shared infrastructure for Forex payments, money, finance, and all of their users, is the quickest way and most pragmatic approach to creating this global blockchain network standard. And so, financing the development and creation of that network is really of critical importance. And so there will be a proposal for, just to cover all the bases here, services agreement between the TA and TAO. I think a research question surrounding communication systems that we use is just open and welcome to ideas. In terms of, last week, I think we talked a lot about broadcasting these types of meetings on X and just cross platforms. Google Meets was thrown out. So I think that's one that we should probably, think about a little bit and try and develop, and then, financing Telcoin network. So, the other areas that I'm, interested personally in is partnering. I think overall partnering with agencies that have specializations is how community-based associations broadly, but specifically for blockchain networks, I think that is the fastest possible way to scale things and tasks to get them done. The TAO was really set up as a contracting agency to contract externally with any number of service providers that the community chooses. And so I think a sort of overall marketing agency partnership would be something that could be useful for us and something to explore. So at this point, I'd like to open up the floor for questions from anyone that just has something they want to talk about, or in terms of potential TIP or TEL-IP proposals, or just questions they have. So mic is open for anyone that wants it. All right. Well,
Hi.
doesn't look good. Oh,
Yeah.
hey, Ty, what's up, brother?
Hi. Good. Thanks. Good. Hi, everybody. I've got a question, just either for Parker or Grant. It's just a general question. It's about how to progress the proposal that I'm currently drafting. There's an element of software development, and I don't know if what I'm proposing is actually feasible in terms of blockchain. If it was a traditional database system, I've worked with these most of my development life, and I would be comfortable sort of specking it out. But in terms of how I get the functionality that I see in relating that to how it actually affects telex and whether or not it's feasible and the cost. So it's really just a technical chat with somebody about the kind of deeper aspects of what I'm proposing. And I'm having trouble kind of just coming up with a cost, a timeline, resource needs, all the sorts of stuff that go in the back end of a project such as what I'm kind of proposing. So it's really just opening a communication channel with somebody to take my idea further and to see if it is in fact feasible.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
that's
Yeah, Ty,
yeah, Grant. Go ahead.
I'd be happy to explore that more with you. Certainly.
Okay. I kind of DM'd you through Discord about a week ago, Grant, and no hassle, but I didn't hear anything back, so I wasn't sure if that was the best format for communication or not.
Yes, that is good. I need to check my DMs. My apologies. I didn't mean to leave you hanging, Ty.
What about this? I have an idea. So there's the support@telcoin.org email that goes to Grant and all the other like TAO engineers. Maybe that would be just a good way generally for technical feasibility questions to get them answered. Is just to forward the proposal there, and then it goes to everyone and can be put on and replied to. I don't know. What do you think?
Email is definitely going to be. I check my email more regularly than I do Discord. So yeah, and I'll reply to your DM here, Ty. Maybe we could move this to email if that's all right with you.
Yeah,
but I'm
no
definitely interested
problem.
to check it out.
Yeah, I didn't know if you were the right press that should be hassling, or whether it was Amir, who I'm also friends with on Discord, or I've even asked Squirtle to maybe tap you on the shoulder because I wasn't sure I would be able to sit in on the meeting this morning. So anyway, that's great, Grant. As long as we can open up a channel, then that's fine.
Yeah, let's do it. And if I can't help, I know who can. So we'll figure it out.
Good man. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks, Ty.
Cheers.
We got Thinking Beer wants to come join.
Hi guys.
Hey,
Is there appetite to have on ramps directly onto the app, the TAL app? I know the focus is obviously on the MNOs front, but is there any appetite to go directly to the TAL app there? And if there is, what have we got set up in the background? I know from a development side, an email address is essential. That's a good idea there, I think. And you know, what's our banking setup behind the scenes? What's the behind the scenes compliance side within Intel to handle any volume? And is it more profitable to go directly through the app, or from a health perspective there?
So on and off ramps for Telex on the website or for the app?
Directly through the app. So if someone was to download the app and look to load up their account directly, so I'm talking from Australia down here, for instance. If someone wanted to have the app, it's they basically can't fund it at the moment.
Yeah, it's I can say, well, that's not like the scope of the Platform Treasury Council, because it's, the sort of Telcoin Holdings is just one member of the association, and that's sort of the company's app there. It's not something that we could, in this discussion, really govern or decide on. However, opening up, serving as the bridge between traditional banking and blockchain has been one of the core focuses of Telcoin, the company who builds that wallet, and so that's sort of emphasized in us going out and drafting the legislation in Nebraska. And then ultimately getting that passed, and then working to operate the bank within that, so that we can have global direct to stablecoin rails from a regulated banking institution issuing the first of its kind regulated bank issued stablecoins. And so we've taken this long-term compliance oriented path because frankly, there really was no other option. I think I might have met 250 banks in the US alone, like over the years, and it's just not their core business, right? They do loans. There's only 80% of global trade finance is conducted by 20 banks. So it's really a global monopoly. From the largest banks control how money moves on the internet and how it's held. And so the other banks that are the sort of, let's say, mainstream banks that you would see being founded across the US, people didn't want to go out to the Wall Street guys in, where I'm from in the old state of Missouri. They wanted to go to their buddy who's got a bank. So America has, tons and tons of community banks, but, overall they do loans, they do commercial loans, they do, loans to individuals for mortgages. Those are their core businesses. But by going out and actually creating this banking entity, the goal is globally trying to scale banking for blockchain compliantly. Telcoin, the company, is in a very unique position to service that. Now, in terms of the timeline of when and what, that's as I said, a little bit out of scope, but that is in order for on-chain to work, the bridge between the existing financial world and the blockchain needs to be really strong. And if anyone's looked around, there's not that many on and off ramps out there, and there's certainly very few, if any, real banks that are participating in a meaningful way, servicing their customers with those rails. And that's been sort of by decree. But now we're seeing the tides change in the US, for instance, but then also just Telcoin positioning wise, the bank is in a really exciting perspective spot to come to life. And so that's really the area that you should be looking out to. And is the company and any updates that come from there. And then I would say, as far as the Telex on and off ramp stuff, it's an interesting discussion if we were to have it, and definitely within scope of the Telex Council.
Just maybe think right then, once, let's say, the bank's up and running in a few years' time, that would be in theory, you could have branches in various places around the world to get those ramps on and off.
Yeah, I mean,
once you reach in their locations.
Yeah, it's a exciting prospect, and is a major unlock for this whole space. Generally, is unlocking regulated banking, and so we'll see, how that develops, and hopefully it's in a positive light. I can definitely say I'm excited about it and appreciate the question. did you have anything else you wanted to touch on, Thinking Beard?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Wonderful. Do we have any more? All right. So, yeah, I'm not seeing any more hands popping up here. Does anyone have anything else they want to add before we close? Oh, actually, before we close out. So, what does everyone think about the following dates? If you have any objections, just chime in. But I was thinking we could make this a recurring every 2 weeks, put it on the calendar for like, oh, what's up, Liberty Lad? For December 5th, the 19th, do a little skip of the session on January 2nd because people will just simply not be out of pocket. So do November 5th, December 19th, and January 9th. Does anyone have issues with those dates?
I think they're good for me. 5th, 19th, and 9th, yeah. Let's see.
Sounds good. Well, we'll plan for that. I'll shoot it to the chat, and then yeah, we can just mark it down on our calendars. So yeah, Liberty Lad, welcome.
Hey Parker, quick question. Are you going to be at the TAN Council?
Yes,
Meeting?
and yeah, and I'm going to come in and just for everyone's background. So TAN Council, the token platform's 3 layers: the token network blockchain layer, the Telex DeFi layer, and then the application layer, which is called the Telcoin Application Network. The TAN Council is the governing body that oversees that, and that includes issuance for stakers and for developers. And that is yet to be commenced because we want it, because as Telcoin being the founding member of the association and interim director during the time period before, as well as the only application developer, we wanted to defer to the TAN Council to implement the TAN issuance rules, so that if you're a staker on the app, you earn TEL based off of your usage of the app and your referred users' usage relative to all the other stakers. And so that's a huge unlock for the community, and the staker position increases the likelihood of organizing the association further with more members, increases participation, production across layers, and usage of Telex and ultimately Telcoin network. So it's a critical piece to how we've sort of incorporated through this governance system and its rules all the layers that actually exist in blockchain networks, which is the base layer, the goods and services layer, and then the customer touch point. Those are all included into the ownership model. And so, getting TAN issuance live is, in my view, the primary mandate of the TAN Council right now. And so I've created the proposal for that in draft form, and I intend on joining the meeting in an hour with you guys to help kick things off, so that there's, of course, the situations of harvesting the TEL issuance that you'll be governing. We had to push those live, and then you have something really tangible to govern and get moving. So yeah, that's an exciting area, and hopefully I can provide some guidance there. So yeah, what other areas of the TAN Council talk did you want to go through now, or did you want to just defer until the call?
Honestly, that was basically it. I did put a kind of a draft proposal on the TAN IP channel. I tagged you in it because I had a question on it, because I'm not sure basically if it's out of the jurisdiction of the TAN Council and my position as a council member there. But if you could just check it out, maybe we could talk a little bit about it in the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's simple. It's totally simple. It's nothing complex or anything like that, but it's probably a basic question that I should get to the bottom of, because I'm still a little bit unsure.
Yeah, I would say it's probably out of scope for TAN Council. This just looking at it, but we'll go through that on the call, and yeah, I'll do my best to try and help kick off the TAN Council operations today with you guys, so that it's not you're not blind firing too much out there, and have support. Barty message, aren't you busy in the fifth part? I don't think so. I don't know. No idea. I think it's my grandma's birthday, but so all right. What else do we have, Larry Ladd? Anything you want to go through, or do we have any more people that want to join up here?
I'm good. We'll talk later. Thanks.
Talk soon. RUB is joining. Well, RUB has tried to join, but I can't. I've invited him, but I don't. Not coming up.
I don't see them in the audience anymore. Are you still there, RUB? IRUB? Yeah, I think that we've missed them.
Oh, he's not a speaker. There it says that.
Oh, dude.
RUB, you have the floor. Though you're currently on mute. RUB, come in, over. RUB, we're gonna move forward unless we can get your mic going. All right. Well, in the essence of time, RUB, if you could just share your message in the chat, that'd be great. I really appreciate everyone joining. I will send a little request to everyone to approve the next 3 meetings so that we have those locked in and don't need to worry about the scheduling. And I'm looking forward to the next discussion surrounding the existing proposals, some new ones that we'll go through. And if you are around, come join the TAN Council meeting in an hour in this channel where we'll be kicking off Telcoin Application Network operations. So yeah, appreciate everyone, and look forward to our next call. And you can follow me at P4Cap, follow the Telcoin Tau at Telcoin Tau on Twitter. Check out our most recent article about the first mover advantage we all have now, our legal entity. And yeah, I look forward to continuing to develop the Telcoin platform as a community in our next meet. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. Bye-bye.